in every coach that I work with that's sort of under that 10K per month bracket, they say I'm too busy to put those automations in place. When you're at the beginning of your journey, sometimes those automations can be a bit confusing. However, once an automation is complete, then that continues to automate forever until you change it. Don't limit yourself, shift your perspective. When you automate it, it will save you in the long run. There's no decision fatigue, won't get forgotten, and your audience, your prospects, or your clients, whatever the automation is, will have a much more consistent experience. Welcome to today's episode of Business Growth Lab. I'm your host, Samantha Riley, and joined by, I'll get it right this week, my partner in business and life, Leon. How are you, Leon?
I'm doing really well, thanks.
See, I
I'm not
didn't
criminal
say
this week.
crime. If you haven't heard episode 663 from last week, you won't have any clue what I'm talking about right now. So if you haven't listened, go back to episode 663 where we talked about your path to 30K months. So if you're stuck below that, or if your revenue is lumpy, like a roller coaster, it's not consistent, then definitely go and listen, because in part one, we unpacked 5 of the reasons that that could be happening. And today we're going to cover the next 5, although I feel like we're probably going to have some bonuses in there. But before we jump in, Leon, do you think we should share a little bit about why our podcast team was a little bit grumpy with us last week?
I think we should, yes. And I did have a listen myself, and we found that we were editing and there was a little noise that kept coming back, and they were going, what's that? So, yeah, but it turns out that I actually had Archie sitting next to me with his bully stick, and he's got a bell on his collar. And so if you hear a jingle all the way through the episode, that's just Archie.
That was our little puppy, absolutely loving on his bully stick. He's got a little bell because he's little and he's like a stealth in the kitchen. Like, he loves to come, and if he sees us in the kitchen, he's like, ooh, mummy and daddy have got food. And he comes and sneaks up behind you, and you turn around and you trip over him. So he's got a bell so we don't step on him or trip over him. But yes, last week, the whole way through the episode, jing-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Yes. It was quite interesting because I kept turning around to see if he was behind me, but it was actually in the recording, so I guess he wasn't.
But let's dive into this, Leon, because last week we talked about the first 5 reasons that so many talented coaches stay capped in their income. We talked about the hidden patterns that they're being trapped in. And this week, we're going to dive into the next 5. So we're not going to recap the first 5. Like I said, if you haven't listened, go back and listen to episode 663. We'll link that below, because today we're just going to dive straight into number 6. And I think that this is something that I see a lot more in, let me say, more sort of millennials, Gen X coaches than younger coaches. But before I say what it is, would you agree with that, Leon?
Yeah, I definitely think it is something that particularly Gen X, they do, and it's quite evident that they do it. Yeah, there's definitely a change with the generations there.
Yeah, and I think let's give a hat tip to our Gen Z coaches listening, because you actually mostly do this really well. And that doesn't mean that all Gen Xers don't do it and all Gen Zs do, but that's quite a generalist comment. But that is not actively selling or making offers every week.
And like I said before, I'm pretty sure this is something that particularly Gen X don't do a lot of. And like you said, not all do or don't do it, but it is a piece where you don't make an offer. I don't know if they think it's icky or something. I don't know what they think it is.
I think I've got a little bit of an insight here. I think there's there's 2 sides to the spectrum. We've got bro marketers that are just sell, and people don't want to be known as broy, right?
Yeah.
So they're afraid to do it. And then we've got the other side that maybe heard, Gary Vaynerchuk saying, it's jab, 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 right hook, which means we give value, we give value, we give value, and then we make an offer. But they're wanting so badly to add value because they're coming from such a good place that they actually are afraid to make the offers. But I think that by saying, jab, 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 right hook, it's also muddied the water a little bit that sometimes that clear offer can be a next step, which isn't actually a sale per se, but will bring someone closer to a sale. And I think that we need to be making clear offers all the time, because otherwise, when someone in your audience finds you and they have got a problem and it's holding them back, then isn't it our responsibility as coaches to help them to alleviate that problem?
Yeah, so that's like, offering a solution to the issue that they're having. And I'm just thinking about now going, yeah, it's like they're offering value, offering value, offering value. And then almost you could say that someone else could just sweep in and offer,
Mm, yeah.
or the sale, like make an offer, and
Yes.
then they can take your client. That's the other thing I was thinking about just then. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's icky to make an offer. I used to. So I guess I'm talking from experience here that, we're taught like don't make offers all the time, but to the point where I didn't make offers ever and I didn't realize it for quite a while, and I would expect my clients, or when they were prospects, that they would reach out and say, "Hey Sam, you're offering so much value. I'd love to work with you." And the amount of times it happens is tiny. Like it does happen, but it's not something that happens all the time. So we really do need to be letting people know, hey, here's what I sell. And maybe it's, hey, jump on a call with me. Maybe it's follow me on Instagram. Maybe it's, hey, here's an offer to do something else or a workshop, whatever it is. Making clear offers doesn't always mean just selling your thing, but you do need to always be giving people the next step. And multiple times a week, you do need to be actively selling, because we are in the business of making money. Any business owner, any business owner is in the business of making money.
yeah, I love that saying. I think it's a difference between being like salesy, like way too bro salesy, and then the other end of the spectrum where you don't make an offer at all. There's a big difference, but somewhere in the middle there
Yeah.
must be. I think there's a good spot where coming from the right or heart, you know,
Hmm.
I would say that you are actually there to help people, and if you don't make an
Absolutely.
offer, you can't help them, but you're offering a solution,
Hmm.
which is not just like sell, 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 sell,
Hmm.
because I know that, and I know for our clients as well, and we're the same, is that we want to see the people that are in our programs do really well. And I know that our
Yeah.
clients are the same, they want to see the people do really well. So if you think about it as not just selling something, but offering a
Hmm.
solution to help them, I feel like that to me is a much better way of going about it.
I think that's a perfect reframe, is we're not just selling all the time, we're offering a solution where there's an exchange between us and the client. And, like I said, all coaches are there for the right reasons. We do what we do because we want to help people. And if we don't make offers, if we don't sell, then we can't help more people. However, we also can't help ourselves. Like, if we're not making sales, a business is losing money, then we can't, pay the mortgage. We can't, give children pocket money, like whatever it is that, if there's no money coming in, there's just,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That gives you like, is that freedom? I think it's freedom. The freedom of
I
choice to
think
do what you want to do when you want to
it's
do it.
choice. Yeah, money gives
Yeah,
us choice. Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah, yeah.
So you need to be making offers. And I think this is why it's so important. And this is about making offers, but this is why it's so important to have an organic marketing system that you follow in your business. I am all about systems. When we have an organic marketing system that we follow, we understand every week that when we've following our framework, whatever that framework is for you, then this day you're making an offer, or this day this is when we're inviting people to book a call, or at this time this is when we're inviting people to purchase a workshop ticket. When we don't have a system, it's very easy to forget. Have we made an offer? What are we doing? Where are we going? And just being in the flow is not going to bring flow to your business.
I know asking for the sale is, well, I think it's kind of similar, but I was just thinking it's more like education. You're educating the potential clients that this is what I have to offer. So I'm thinking about is it salesy? Is it educational? Is it making an offer? Is it offering to help? And I think a lot of people have got that really mixed up and think that it's just salesy, like sleazy salespeople that are kind of, the ones we're talking about that are horrible. That
Yeah, and I
I don't want
think
to talk
I
to you.
think that's yeah, well, I think that's come from sort of the broy salespeople that are just like, oh, who is it? Jordan Belfort, always be closing. Was that him that said that? Always be closing, or was that someone else? Actually, it's
I
from a
think so,
different
but I
movie.
can't guarantee
Don't even worry.
that.
From whatever movie it's from, it's like always be closing, or, it's coming from that mindset of assume the sale. And I think that it's that energy that has made people back off from making clear offers, because I don't think we should always be closing, because we shouldn't be selling. Yeah, we're making offers, but we're prescribing those offers to the people that it's a benefit for. We're not just selling anyone because it might not be a right fit. We should be prescribing to the people who our offer can benefit. And assuming the sale, I think, is just as bad as well. Like what, you know, um, I'm going to call it old school sales training. Teachers, like, people will always be able to afford it. It's just a value system. Yes, I agree with that partly, but also there are people that genuinely right now cannot afford your offer. And I refuse to make a sale for anyone that can't make their next mortgage payment. It's not right. So,
Yep.
yes, we need to be making offers, but I think that energy comes from that old school sales principle of always be closing and assume the sale, because that's where the waters have gotten muddy.
Yeah. So I know we talked about the energy of it, which I think is a really good point. We talked about, I think from the heart, like we want to help. I always want to help people. So that's where it comes from me. The other part that comes to mind when we talk about not making offers all the time is if only 3% of your audience is ready to buy at any given time, if you only make one offer, then you're only really offering to a really small piece of your audience. So if you don't
Yeah,
continue to make offers, like what if that person wasn't ready to buy this week, but they're ready to buy next week? And then you don't make an offer,
absolutely. Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
miss the opportunity.
Yeah. And let's just to clarify that only 1 to 3% of your audience is ready to buy now, which means it's between 1 and 3 people in every 100 people. So we need to nurture and keep warm the rest of the people in your audience so that they will buy from us when they're ready, or so they remember we're there. But in that nurturing process, we still need to be making offers, because exactly like you said, they could be warm in a month. They could be warm in 7 months. They could be warm in 3 years. Like, there is no hard and fast rule with how long that sales cycle is, how quickly or how slowly. So, because people make buying decisions at different times, they've got pain at different times. So, we need to always be prescribing all of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think consistency is key in that regard.
Yeah, totally. So I guess my number one tip or reflection is have some sort of system so you always know when, how, why, what offers are being made. Because when you're just following a process or a system or a framework, it's a lot easier to make sure that you are making your offers consistently.
Love that. Love that. I think we could move on to point number 7. which I
Yeah,
think is probably coming off that is probably a valid point, which is not
absolutely.
having automation. So no
Yeah.
automation. Uh, yeah, and I think this is I look at my time as being valuable, and I think
Hmm.
this is something that really comes into that. So, and this is where you might find yourself spending way too much time doing the really laborious kind of administrative tasks and the things that you do over and over and over again. And I
Mm-hmm.
think there might be a rule around that somewhere where if you have to do it more than 3 times in a row, you should have an automation. But if
Totally.
things are done over and over again and you can automate them to, in my mind, save you time and frustration, I think that's a really big thing to look at. So, what are your thoughts on automation, Sam?
Oh my goodness, I love it. There's a couple of things I want to touch on first because I can already tell what people are thinking. One, I want people to have a really fabulous boutique experience, so I don't want to automate things. And let me just change your mind here that when you do automate, maybe, emails or onboarding processes, these kinds of things, that it actually can provide a better boutique experience because you're providing a consistent customer experience to everyone rather than having things forgotten, changing it up, having some person have this amazing experience and someone else feeling like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Like, I have no idea. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The other thing that I see in just about every coach that I work with that's sort of under that 10K per month bracket, where they're quite busy because they're doing all the things, they're hustling to get to that first 10K, is that they say I'm too busy to put those automations in place because what they're doing is just focusing on the maybe a few hours that it takes to create an automation. And when you're at the beginning of your journey, sometimes those automations can be a bit confusing and it can take like a day. And they're like, yeah, but it's only going to take me 10 minutes to do the job. However, once an automation is complete, then that continues to automate forever until you change it, right? Just think if you've got your business for 10 years and you're going to get busier, well, let's hope you get busier over that 10 years.
Well, that's
That
the idea,
10
right?
minutes, 15 minutes, well, yeah, right. That 10, 15, 20 minutes that it takes to do that one task. Now imagine you're doing it thousands of times. It's going to far exceed some hours or a day that it takes to create that automation. And I see this in so many coaches that are at that beginner level, like not understanding the benefit of getting the automation in place right from the beginning. And it's something that once we're over that 20, 30K, that business owners just understand, oh yeah, that needs to be automated because they understand the compounding effect. So, if you're thinking, oh yeah, but it's just a 5 minute task, I'll just do that. Like, I want to say, don't limit yourself with that thought. Shift your perspective. When you automate it, it will save you in the long run, and it will also mean that you don't have to worry about that thing again. It's once it's automated, there's no decision fatigue. It doesn't have to live in your head like, oh my goodness, I need to do that thing. I need to do that thing. I need to do that thing. It won't get forgotten. And your audience, your prospects, or your clients, whatever the automation is, will have a much more consistent experience.
Yeah, I really like that you brought up the part about the actual experience from the client point of view as well. So I'm looking back at it from like an ops kind of point of view on the other side of it. And if you're just starting out and say you might have, I don't know, 8, 10 clients, for example, and there's something that has to happen every week that could be automated, but you haven't. And just say that task was 10 minutes. All right. Well, what happens when you get to 20 clients and then 30 clients?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're chewing up time like crazy. And as one of your most, valuable assets or commodities that you have is time.
Yeah.
And if you're chewing it up with administrative tasks, for example, that is just insane because you as well, at the moment you're the everything person. So you're the CEO and all the pieces, the
And the
salesperson, the whole
operator.
lot,
Yeah.
and the operator. Yeah. So I'll go back to my supermarket days here. But if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, there's a trade-off there because you should have been doing something else. So if you spent like 3 times the amount of time doing those admin tasks, does that mean you spent less time doing sales calls? Does that mean you spent less time doing outreach?
100%.
So what was the
Yep.
trade-off? What was the loss you actually got? Because I bet you can quantify it to dollars and it's going to be big.
100%. Yeah, and it's going to get big really, really quickly. It's that
Yep.
compounding effect, right?
Yep. What I was going to say as well is that because we're talking about client experience, the other thing is, do you want the client to have a good experience and what you're giving them now? And do you want to be able to provide that same really good personal experience as you grow? Because if you do, you need to make sure you can manage your time so that so even for the onboarding, the automations work so you have more time with the personal part of it. So you're not
Yeah.
just chewing up time everywhere else, and then things will break and you start, well, not missing calls and things, but things don't get done like they should.
Well, you might do, right? It
Well, you could
might.
do.
There might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got an automation that happens when we haven't called a lead. So you may miss the calls. Like that's where you do have leads slipping through the gaps. I was going to also say, you mentioned just before about automations when you've got 20, 30 clients. Well, at that point, you cap out, right? There is no more time left. And if you're at that point, then where do you find your time to put an automation in place? So just do it right from the beginning, guys. Get your automations in place. It's not just about time either. And this is something that a lot of people may not have even realized. If you don't have something automated so that you're providing some sort of consistent experience, it actually affects your branding,
That's a big one. That's a big one.
right? I had someone just yesterday waiting for me on a call, and we've got some sort of automation in place. And he's like, huh, at that point, before I'd even met you, I knew that attention to detail was really important to you because of the little things that were in place. So that sent a message about me, my values, what's important to me, what's important as a company, and my branding before that person has even spoken to me. That's how important automations are. It's not just about the time.
Actually, I just thought of another one that we probably should make another episode on this one, but it's the cognitive bathtub. When you have to keep
Oh,
making other other decisions, you're actually, and it becomes more and more and more, you're taking away the thought processing power that your brain has to actually work on your clients and actually do what you need to do with them. So you're actually starting to spread yourself way too thin. And the busier it gets, the worse it gets. So I think that's something to be really careful of.
I guess I know why that was top of mind. This is something we've been talking about this week, where as CEO, as you know, client success that you are in our business, that there are certain decisions that are really important that we make. When that bathtub starts overflowing and all of a sudden we're having to make decisions that really shouldn't be being made because they're not automated or delegated, then all of a sudden the really important decisions are pushed to the side, or they're not made quickly, or they're made with a foggy brain. So it's
Yep.
really important that we don't have that cognitive bathtub overflowing. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
automate.
So I think,
I did
yeah,
say
I
automate
think
or
we,
delegate, but so I may have muddied that a little bit. But if there's something that you shouldn't be doing, it needs to be either automated or delegated.
should we move on to number 8?
Yep. Let's talk about lack of visibility. And this plays, oh my goodness, this is huge in itself, lack of visibility, because it could be happening for a lot of different reasons. But essentially, we need to be visible so that people know who we are. You can't just show up and say, buy from me, right? And I see this a lot with people that are constantly just running bottom of funnel, which means they're saying, hey, come onto a call, buy with me. That's bottom of funnel. We need to be visible and running top of funnel. You know, this is me, this is who I am, This is what I talk about. This is who I'm talking to, so that people can see us and start to get to know, like, and trust us. Because if they don't know who we are, the likelihood of someone buying from us is quite small, right? Because people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches. So they need to know, like, and trust us to buy what our service is providing.
Yeah, I think you've got a really good saying as well about being the best kept secret. So
Oh, I think this is quite a, this is not just a
might be a bit
Sam
more than
thing.
that.
This is, I was going to say, we do see this all the time, but yeah,
Yeah.
no one wants to be the world's best kept secret. People can't buy from a secret.
Yeah.
It just can't happen. You need to be out there. You need to
Yeah.
be consistently showing up. And there's a few things that play into this. Number one, you need to be really clear on your messaging, on your offer, what you stand for, because when you're not clear on those things, it is very easy to hold back. It's like you almost put the foot on the brakes, because it's like, I don't know what I should be saying, or I'm really unsure of this message, or what I'm meant to be talking about. So that is one. You need to be really clear on all of those things so it's easy to show up. Number two, and I covered this in a podcast episode with Dr. Nat Green a few weeks ago, and that's being in a place where your nervous system is feeling safe. Because if you're trying to show up and there's traumas that are playing out behind the scenes, it's very difficult to show up and be visible. And number three, you need some sort of system. Has anyone noticed the golden thread through all of this? There needs to be some sort of system to your visibility, because if you don't have a system, it's very tricky to consistently show up, because you are not going to want to show up all day, every day. There are times where you're not feeling well, when you want to when you're feeling tired, when you want to be taking time off, whatever it is. So there needs to be some sort of system or framework in regards to your visibility.
Yeah. So what would you say as well about the level of trust factor at the moment? Because I feel like with social media being as it is, that it has dropped quite a bit. And to actually build trust, you actually need quite a lot more, well, airtime, I suppose you could say, watch time, listen time.
Yeah, so this is really interesting, because I'm going to kind of like jump on two sides of this. In one way, you're saying, you need to be seen more, so to build that trust. But I think the way it gets done is very different. It's not just about showing up 15 posts a day, all day, every day kind of thing, and shouting louder. I don't think it's that at all. Like, this shouting louder idea is almost making people put their hands over their ears, metaphorically, if that makes sense. It's like,
Mm.
there is so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
noise, I can't handle it. So, stop being there. But at the same time, you do still need to show up a lot. However, I think it needs to be done in a different way. It's not in this shouting louder way, it's in a more aligned way. Like, being really aligned with your human design or your energetic blueprint, really speaking from your zone of genius, from your mastery, so that when you do show up, it's more distilled, it's more refined, it's more potent, and not necessarily louder and more often. But when you do show up, there is a consistency to it, and it is like really, really on brand for you, because our human design is in our DNA, right? So energetically, if you're showing up in a way that's not you and not designed for the way that you're designed to communicate with the world, then there's going to be this friction point. So we need to remove the friction by being really aware of what that alignment is for you.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's, they bandy around like the genuine, authentic. I think the words have been way overused, but I think alignment is also sits better as well.
Yeah, I think authentic has definitely lost its meaning. Like we
Hmm.
don't even know
Yeah.
really what it means anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it really? So, yeah. But I think alignment still when I think about the way that makes you feel and ways you come across. If you're in alignment, that is to me what genuine kind of really should be. Not just
Yeah.
a bandied about overused words. So,
Mind you, I do think alignment is going down that path too, because I was chatting to someone just yesterday, and this person said to me, "Yeah, but I just want to be in flow all the time." Well, if your idea of being in alignment is I'm just going to sit and wait and see what happens, then your business is not going to get to those consistent 30K months. Like, think about a river, right? A river, water is in the river and it's flowing. For that river to cut through the earth, there needs to be some energy there, right? For that water to cut through the riverbed. It's not just like going to happen by that water just sitting there waiting. Like that just turns into a smelly puddle with mosquito larvae, right? Does that make
oh dear.
sense?
Uh,
Like
reduced to a
flow
stinky puddle.
has, I know, with mosquito larvae. Don't forget that bit. Flow is action, it is momentum, it is movement. And when you've got some sort of framework so that movement can continue, that's when you get flow.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just going to go on a little side trail here for a second.
Oh,
I'm
as
not
if I didn't
woo-woo,
just then.
but but so uh, before meeting Sam, I don't think I was very woo-woo, and I'm probably not really that
You
woo-woo
don't
now.
think you were? I know you were
But
zero woo woo.
I probably wasn't, was I?
No.
So one thing that Sam did get me onto was my human design, and I found it super interesting about the way it works. Like it couldn't have been more accurate. I don't know how to explain it of the way that I perceive the world, the way I behave in the world, and when I'm my happiest, I'll call it flow.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, you can feel it. So that's because you're in alignment. So I think that's something that I really I look back to and go like, is this in alignment with the way I am? And I find that when I'm in alignment, I produce things better, I do things better, I communicate better, all those kind of things. So I think knowing your human design was pretty important. So and if anyone else doesn't know the human design, I think you can go and grab it off Sam's website. So that's there, and I'd probably suggest you do
We'll link
that.
that below.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So let me ask you this then, Leon, because visibility, like let's lift up the metaphorical rug and shine a light under there. Visibility for you coming from a corporate background, you really struggled with, and you still do struggle with it sometimes, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what has knowing your human design and being in alignment helped in specifically showing up in and being visible?
Yeah. So one thing about corporate is it conditions you to acting and behaving in a certain way. And for me, it's particularly out of alignment. And so in that way, what I feel is that my communication, I'm in my kind of happy place when I'm able to communicate and come from a point of helping, and that's made a
Hmm.
big difference to the way that I write a post or write an email or in those things. So, and I feel that because now coming from the right place, that it's made it much easier, and I think people connect with me better when I write
Yeah.
that way, for example, or when I post that way,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah, totally. Because that's the way that you're designed to communicate with the world. So by you being in alignment, it's, I won't say effortless, but it's a lot easier to show up because you're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm here for. I know what I'm meant to be sharing. And energetically, people pick up that.
Yeah, yeah. Because if I tried to, say communicate in a style it's all rah rah and hype fest,
Mm,
it's not me. It's not the way that I roll, kind of thing, and
yeah,
it's uncomfortable in a bad way, not uncomfortable in a good way. So I think that's I
totally.
think where I have like got the most out of that part of it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. All right, let's close the gate invisibility and say and call it done. I want to move on to number 9 because I think this is a really interesting one. I'll explain why in just a minute. Number 9 is around mindset barriers and imposter syndrome and fears. It's like those little invisible things under the surface. We all know that we have them. Sometimes we're aware of what they are. Sometimes they're subconscious and we're not aware, but they're those limiting actions that get in the way of our business. And it might be beliefs around, how worthy you are, or around making money, or, charging more, to actually self sabotage. Where I'm saying this one is really interesting is because it's in here in the top 10, because I 100% believe that every single one of us, there is not one of us on the face of the earth doesn't have some sort of mindset barriers or fears or mindset belief systems, right? However, before I understood that the personal development world even existed, back when I was 20 and started my first business and was making money from day one, I had all of these things and I didn't even know that they could hold me back, right? So, because I wasn't aware that there was some sort of barrier that could hold me back, I actually leaned into them or noticed them less. So, why I'm saying this is it's a very weird place to be because they would have been there, right? Obviously, I had to move some things and shift some things, but it's amazing what actually just getting out and doing the thing can shift those beliefs without you even having to do the work.
Yeah, yeah.
Have I
I was
just
actually
scrambled
thinking
your
that's a
brain?
little.
Have I just
No,
scrambled your
well, a
brain?
little bit. My brain went to, is that a bit Dunning-Kruger effect? And what's the thing where you see the red cars all the time?
Yeah, the RAS, reticular activating
Y- yeah, so
syndrome, something. Reticular
yeah, that's the
activating
one.
something.
The red car thing. I
Yeah,
think it's the more you know, but once you realize something as well, it almost gets stuck in your head. Once you
yeah.
understand, like you go, that's an issue. I'm self-sabotaging. It's almost like you do it to yourself again. So, and breaking that cycle.
Yeah, so what I'm not saying is don't do the work. Like, I do so much work, personal development, to, work on these limiting beliefs, to shift perspectives, whatever they are. I mean, obviously, I've got some sort of money thing there, right? Otherwise, I'd be a billionaire. So I'm not saying they're not there, and I'm not saying I don't work at them all the time. However, what I am saying is I think that the personal development world has gaslit us a little bit and taught us that we can't do certain things because we have these beliefs. And I want to call BS on that.
Yeah, yeah. Are you using it as an excuse or using it as something you just need to get over and move on with it? And I think there's too much leaning on it and going, I can't do this because.
Oh my goodness. I can't do this because is
Yeah,
something I hear all the time. It's why one of my highest values is resourcefulness. It's why one of our company's highest values is resourcefulness. Man, I get grumpy with the team when they don't lean on resourcefulness. There is always a way to do something. Otherwise, there wouldn't be billionaires in the world that started off with nothing, right? The blaming and saying, well, it's different for you because is one of the biggest limiting beliefs, right? There's always around ways around everything. And I think that
yeah,
when you get really resourceful and start asking yourself better questions to be like, okay, well, this thing's happening. What can I do so that it doesn't? Is one of the most resourceful things you can do. Like take responsibility for your mindset and stop blaming like I can't do it because.
Yeah. I think as well, it's not accepting, say, something can't be done. So, if you ask yourself that, I want to achieve this, and then you start trying to work out how you can achieve that, but accepting that it's impossible is, I feel like that is making excuses almost. But from the other side of it, go, if you're someone that's going to be resourceful and ask the right questions, you're someone that can overcome that, and you can be in front of a lot of other people, coaches, business owners, all that kind of thing. So the opportunity is there. I think you can just use it to your advantage by going, okay, well, I know I'm probably, my mindset is telling me this, but if I take that away and say that's not an excuse, I'm not accepting defeat on this, I'm going to do this, and I'll find a way, and you will find a way. And it's quite amazing what you can do if you're resourceful.
Absolutely. Do you want to share the one thing that I get super grumpy when you say this in a sentence? Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about here? And
is
I
this when I
always
say
say,
how?
can we, yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
But how can we do that?
Oh my goodness. As soon as Leon
That doesn't
says,
annoy
how
you
do
at
we
all.
do that? I'm like, stop. We don't know how. What's a better question? I'm constantly saying that, aren't I? What's a better question? It's like,
Uh,
what needs to be done, or let's tap into why we're doing this, or what's the outcome we're trying to achieve, or who's done this previously that can help us with this, or when does this need to be done so that we can start to pull a timeline out. And when you ask better questions, like how is the worst question that you can ask yourself? Because you probably, if you're asking, you probably don't know how, right? So ask yourself a better question so you can move through it. And then that's getting that mindset barrier or that fear out of the way. Because a lot of time, that question, how do we do this, is just fear protecting us.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of the time it needs to be back up a second. Let's go. What is the plan? And then you can reverse engineer it and work out how to, I'll say how it's actually going to happen. But that's like an after thing, not like, that's
Yeah.
not the first question you ask.
So before we close the gate on mindset and beliefs and fears, is there something that, Leon, that you want to like finish this off with or wrap this up with?
I think that some of the mindset problems that we have is more a case of us just needing to let go of some of the silly ideas and things that we picked up from other people, because my understanding is that we learned a lot of these things that become an issue from other people. That's why young kids sometimes have no fear. They don't know that there's gravity and stuff like that. And so, and a lot of it is just us needing to let go, believe in ourselves, and just move forward and just keep moving. Don't stop, keep moving.
Yeah. I think for me, it's have the compassion for yourself to know that these things are bubbling under the surface, that we all have them. But in the same breath, it's we all have them, and it's our choice whether we allow them to get in the way. And like I said, I'm a billionaire, so obviously I've still got some things that I need to move, right? However, actually, I've got a story about this, and my clients know this story. Back when I ran my very first summit, I was like, yeah, I've got this great idea. Let's run a summit. I'd never run one before. I started to get in the weeds in the first week and went, oh, wow, there's only about 500 tasks here that I didn't realize that needed to be done. I don't know if I can pull this off. I don't know how to do it. I don't understand how to make this all happen. And I started to get really overwhelmed. And I looked at the calendar and went, all right, I've got 4 weeks to pull this off. I am surrounded by the smartest people that I know that there is someone that can solve every single one of these problems. I know that I'm actually a really smart problem and I can probably figure out some of them on my own. I know I've got a really amazing team. I know they can take some of this stuff off my shoulders. I know that there are people out there that specialize this, so I can probably hire someone to help me. So, what if instead of getting overwhelmed and sending myself into a tiz, what if instead I chose to go, this is the most exciting thing ever. I'm running my first summit and having an absolute blast with it. And that particular day, I'll never forget it. I made the choice that I was not going to be overwhelmed in the whole process. And there were a couple of times in the process where the overwhelm started to bubble up, and I just spoke out loud to myself and I was like, absolutely not. We are not letting overwhelm come to this party. We're having way too much fun. And I consciously chose to not let it happen. And it is amazing how resourceful you can become by not letting overwhelm come up. And it's amazing when you're feeling excited, how that fear can dissipate. And it's amazing how much that all changed, not just my life as we were putting it together, but of the people around me. Because the excitement from the people around me was incredible and the answers were all there. The answers are all out there. So it's about backing yourself and giving yourself compassion.
Yeah, yeah. It can be a little bit infectious, can't it? The excitement.
A lot. A lot. I'm a generator. I'm very infectious when I'm excited. Infectious in all the good ways. I won't give you spots.
Everyone,
but...
get on the super yacht.
All right, let's bring it home with number 10. This is, oh my goodness, I'm going to say it again. I feel like I've said it 10 times in a row. This is so important. This is so important. Number 10, the reason that you could be struggling to hit your consistent 30K months, if you don't have an email list that is constantly growing every single day, then it is hindering your path to growth.
Yeah, yeah. And this is something that I think we see a lot. There are a lot of coaches that just tend to, I don't know if they ignore it, they forget about it, they just don't
understand
seem
the
to have
importance of it.
Well, and maybe that's it. They don't understand the importance of it because when you think about things, like social media platforms, that's all on rented ground. It's borrowed land. That's not yours. You don't own that. So, how often you've heard someone like, oh, my account got shut down overnight.
Oh, my
don't even know
Facebook
why.
got shut down last night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. So a lot of those. And even to the point where, I mean, we don't want to blame the algorithm, but it can change. And sometimes it doesn't work as well for you as it used to, and until you kind of work your way through it, find out what's going on with it. But it is a thing that happens. And, there's a lot of changes right now. We know with certain platforms that are really like turning things on their head. But if you have your email list, you keep ownership of what you've worked really hard to get.
Totally.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah. I'm 100% believer in paid marketing. There is not one tiny piece of me that thinks that a business shouldn't run paid marketing. I've run paid marketing for 30 something years now. And that was way before, Facebook ads. God, Facebook wasn't even around when I started. When I was a girl. Oh my goodness. But your account can be shut down overnight. It can, go straight away. Your email list is the best bottom of funnel that there is available, and I will die on that sword. All right, so really just quickly, your top of funnel is your awareness. This is where people may not even know that you exist. This is the goal of being seen. And essentially this is your cold audience, right? So it's top of funnel is, hey, here I am. This is who I am. Your middle of funnel content or marketing is the consideration stage where people know who you are, but it's about you deepening the relationship and demonstrating value. So this is what we call a warm audience. These are people who are, checking you out. So this is your workshops and your lead magnets and that kind of thing. And then your bottom of funnel is your conversions or your sales. And a lot of people get really confused and think, I'm going to pop up a Facebook ad so that people buy my course. So what they're doing is they're putting straight up a bottom of funnel ad. The chances of people buying that is next to none if they have no idea who you are. Like I would say it's probably a 0 chance. And then what happens is people go, ads don't work. Well, it's not that ads don't work. It's that people don't work, right? It's that you've made the wrong decision. Wow. Now I'm getting on my high horse here, right?
People don't work.
Well, it's true, right? I was taught this in business college when I was 16. Like it's not the computer that doesn't work. It's that you've done something wrong. It's operator error, not computer error. It's the same with paid ads. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, I'll move on. Moving people from your top of funnel and your middle of funnel to your email list so that you can make bottom of funnel offers to people that are already on your list is the best way to get people to buy. Like, sure, still run bottom of funnel ads if you're running top and middle of funnel. That's like, I'm not saying don't do that, but your highest conversion will come from your email list. Build it from day one and build it every single week. So again, have a strategy. What's your strategy to bring people onto your email list every single week? Because if you're finishing 2025 with the same number of people on your email list as you had in January, or even worse, less because you've had opt-outs, then you're not in a very stable place. You need to be building your email list every single week, and it's one of your KPIs. Is that happening every single week? Do I have new subscribers to my email list?
I'm so glad you mentioned the bottom of funnel part, because I think that is one of the email is one of the strongest places to be for bottom of funnel, hands down.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So you need to be building your email list. There's lots of ways to do it. Running workshops, sharing lead magnets, getting people to put their hand up and say, hey, I want that thing. Essentially, whatever your thing is one of the ways to build it. Having partners that are sharing for you and you can return the favor is a really good way. So collaboration partners is another way. There's many different ways, but get well versed on how to build your email list and how to convert people from your audience to your email list.
Yeah. The email list, I think it's something that should be being built like all the time, nonstop. Like, it's not just because you're launching a product or something like that, or a course. Like, it's something that gets built all the time. And at least that way, too, when you do launch something, you're already in the right place, because your bottom of funnel, your list, it's there, they're warmed up, they're ready to go. Whereas if you're not building it, you try and build it.
You said something there. Hang on. You said something that you're going to gloss over. And it was really, really important that your email list is warmed up. So we're not just bringing them to our email list, we're regularly emailing them too.
Oh, that's kind of important.
Well, it was important
Critical,
you said
maybe.
it, but I thought people might have missed that. Right? Sorry, and now I've cut you off, but it was so important.
Well, it was. And I think I got the point across anyway. And thank you for actually pointing out that it is also critical and crucial.
Yeah, totally. Whew. Wow. 10 traps there. There's a million more, but they're the 10 big ones, right?
Yeah.
That
Got time for a quick bonus one?
Oh, I love bonuses. I even love steak
bonus
nights,
round.
But even all right, ding ding, bonus round. Let's have it, Leon. I'm ready.
So one of the things that I see, and I don't think there's enough put on this, is you need to dream bigger. Like, if you think you're at 10K now and you want to go to 15, no. You want to 10K, you want to go to 100. Like, dream bigger. Or
be still
10K
my
to
beating
$1 million.
I knew I married well. God, keep talking to sexy to me, babe.
Oh, it's probably not very sexy. 10x is better than 2x.
Oh, that's so sexy. Oh, I love this so much. So much. What else?
I think the reason that dreaming big, I think, is important is because you don't think big enough. Like, if you're not thinking like the $100,000 a month CEO and you're thinking like the $10,000 a month CEO, you're not going to get to anywhere even in between that because you've already
Mm.
limited yourself.
Yeah, because you're showing up as that person. Yeah.
Yeah. Because what someone doing 100K a month does and someone doing 10K a month is completely different.
Yeah.
But it's like we spoke about. I think it was in the previous episode was that the levels change. So what you're doing at 10K is different to what you're doing at 30K. Is what you're doing different at 50K. To what you're doing at 100K. So, I mean, I'm sure we all want to have that. That 7-figure business. Per year, and
Mm.
some of us want to have a 7-figure business per month. But to get
Hmm.
from that 10 to 100, I think you need to dream big enough and then start acting like that person.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions or limiting beliefs that people have is that when they hit those big numbers, that they're going to be working harder, right? They're like, oh, I don't want to be working 10 times harder than I'm already working now. And that is one of the biggest limiting beliefs. I'm here to tell you that earning $200,000 a month, you work a lot less if you set yourself up right from the beginning than you do at 10,000K a month. I worked way harder at 10K a month because I didn't have the resources to be able to leverage. At 200K a month, money solves your resource problems, right? Money buys time. Money buys support. Money buys all sorts of things that at 10K a month you can't afford. So don't get caught putting stories together that aren't actually joined, as in, if I'm earning 10K a month, I'm going to be working heaps harder. It's not the case at all. Those two things actually don't go hand in hand unless you put them hand in hand, unless you push them together. If you set your business up right from the beginning and act as someone that's earning $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month, right from the beginning, and get the systems in place, a lot of what we've talked about today, life is actually easier. Life is actually filled with more freedom so that you can take not just one day off, but you can take months off at a time. And the systems and the structures, the infrastructure is in place to be able to allow you to do that. So please, whatever you do, don't think that just because you earn more money that you're going to be working harder. 100% there's going to be a messy middle. 100% of the time there is going to be a messy middle because there needs to be a lot of support put into place or infrastructure to get through to the other side. But from someone that's been on the other side multiple times, it is worth it every time.
There's something else I just want to add is that when you're at that lower amount as well, you're the everything person.
Yeah.
And essentially, you're the labor, you're the salesperson,
Yep.
you're the CEO.
Yep.
I say labor
Yep.
because the bigger it gets, I feel like I suppose I'm going to call it less on the tools. So,
Yeah.
because you're not paid by the hour, you're paid for the result. And as it grows, you have your IP that you can use to get an even better result. So if it's going the way it should be, your IP should be helping you accelerate your business faster and faster. So getting from
Mm-hmm.
10 to 30K might be one thing, getting to 30 to 50 to 80K. But from there, it's like, it's like is it ski jump? Like it goes faster as it
Yeah.
goes up.
Yeah.
But it's not for you to physically work harder. It's your brain that's doing the work, and it's your ideas and your IP and your knowledge because you're the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
You're the person at the top that's steering it and driving it. that's your job, and you need to make sure as well that the time that you used to spend like, laboring, you now spend thinking and having CEO time and analyzing and working out, well, where next, and then dream bigger again and go, where's the next one from here? We got there, now where to? And I think that's a really important state of mind shift you need to make. But the earlier you make it, so that you're setting yourself up to get there, the better, because nothing worse than, getting to a point along the way you get stuck at because you didn't implement at the bottom. You didn't put those automations in. You weren't building your email list. You weren't like working on your mindset. It's going to trap you at a certain point, and your ceiling is going to be capped, and it's going to be really difficult to get past it because you built yourself into the system which you shouldn't have been built into.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I've loved this so much. I love nerding out on this stuff. Like, business for me is like my happy place.
I actually think we should be making a bunch more episodes on some of these topics, because some of them, I actually think we've got to keep going on for quite a while. And so I think some of them may make another guest appearance somewhere along the way. And I'm looking forward to those discussions as well.
I would say so. So the good news, every single one of these traps or, challenges, friction points that we've talked about today, that every single one of them is fixable, and they're actually fixable quite easily. However, the challenge is sometimes you don't know which one you should be fixing next, because it's impossible to fix all 10 at the same time. You don't know what needs to be done. You might even be thinking, how? I know we just talked about that, but you might be thinking, how do I fix that? Then I would love to help you. Leon would love to help you. I would like you to reach out, head to our website, samanthariley.global, and right there at the top of the page is a gold button that says Get Your Personalized Scale Plan. Hit that button, just a few questions to answer. Book a scale session in our calendar, and in half an hour, we'll ask you a whole heap of questions to help you gain clarity around where you are, where you want to be, and help you to put a plan in place to make that happen. Because without a plan, you're going nowhere. And right now is the perfect time to create that plan so that you can move forward. Because for every single month that you don't have a plan, the $10,000 that you could be adding to your business is compounding as a loss. So it's really, really important. Get that plan in place, move forward. It's a no obligation call. Yeah, join us for a scale plan. Leon, any parting thoughts as we round out this episode today?
I'd actually like to invite anyone that's listening to let us know what they found to be their biggest block, or what's caused them to hit their ceiling. So I'd love to hear from you, me or Sam. You can find us on Instagram. Links will be in the show notes. And yeah, I'd love to hear what's been trapping you.
Can I just have a little Suki moment here? Like even us very positive and always amazing at what we do people have Suki moments, and I'm going to have one. Is that all right?
Go for it.
Every week, I sit behind the microphone and deliver a ton of value. I interview some of the world's smartest people to help grow business. We put a lot of time and effort aside to build this podcast. And then no one sends me a message about my podcast, and I feel like I'm doing it all alone. Please reach out and say, hi, I'm listening.
We'd love to hear from you, though.
Absolutely. Please just reach out and say, hi, I listened. Thanks. I would really appreciate it.
Maybe we could do a section. We can do a Ask Sam. Hashtag Ask Sam. Ask Sam. You got any questions for Sam? I'd love to hear them.
Do that. Yeah, because honestly, I could talk about business underwater with marbles in my mouth for 3 days straight without taking a breath. Anyone that knows me will be like, yep, she ain't lying. Like, I absolutely love and nerd out on business, and I love to help people. So please, if you've got a question, reach out. I would love to cover it on the show. Leon, thanks so much for joining me for this little series on the path to 30K months. And thank you for listening. I really look forward to your Instagram message. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week on another episode of Business Growth Lab. Ciao for now.